Everybody, Matt Geary here for the Geek Pridecast on this Monday evening. With me tonight, we have my co-hosts, Peter Ray Allison.
Good evening, everyone.
And Jon Jo Cosgrove.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Woo! We were meant to have a guest. Tonight, but they kind of went AWOL on us. So we were meant to have a spectacular guest.
It's currently somewhere across the moors.
Yeah, we were trying to talk
running
to them
and screaming.
But unfortunately, that didn't work. So we are.
You got us, basically. You're left with us.
You've got us. Yes, you've got us.
You lucky listeners.
Yeah. So yes. So gents, I'm assuming you're here, so you're not doing anything Halloween related.
I think we're here. I think we're here.
Did you do anything? Did you go to any parties or anything like that?
I did. Oh. I went to Nightmare in Nottingham on Saturday night for their Nottingham horror show, goth night. So basically, lots of gothy people dressed up in spooky things and some fantastic music. And I felt it on Sunday. Oh boy, did I feel it! Oh. And also, I found out you can actually use broomsticks as swords.
Okay. Well, you can use a lot of things with swords.
Yeah, well, that's how they're playing with. Someone had a broomstick and playing with it and started swinging it around. Make sure it didn't hit anyone. Thought, yeah, this makes a good sword, actually.
I've got it because, I haven't done anything for Halloween in so long. Like, I used to have Gearoween every year. I'm famous for my my Geary related parties. New Year's Eve, Gearoween, Chinese New Year's. So, I used to have these parties all the time. I think they were always got Gearoween 2008. There was two. Well, I think the last one. The last one Gearston was at. He dressed as Negan, which was quite. And Sean Wallace was there. But yeah, that was the last Halloween party I had was 4 or 5 years ago, and I've got it because I really love Halloween. But just. With lockdown being all the other stuff going on, I just haven't been able to. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, I normally go out to rock club or rock night because I always find on those nights people really just go for it, and there's a real carnivalesque flair to the evening at a goth night on Halloween. So if you get the chance, go to it because it is just an absolute blast.
We went to I remember we went to a fancy dress party at Satan's Hollow in Manchester many moons ago.
Nice.
And there was a £250 prize for the best costume. And my mate John, him and my other friend Dickie, they went full out. They got prosthetics. I think it cost them more than the prize, and they came first and second, obviously, because they did really well. But it's there was no profit in that win. It was just for the glory and stuff. And he went as a clown and stuff. And that was quite interesting. But I think the fact that they just didn't spend. They spent all this money on something. They won the prize, and then it, cost them more. But yeah, the last Halloween costume I had was that one that Pete would have seen. No, I lie. The last costume I did was a Green Arrow with armor. So I did Green Arrow, but with sort of kind of with armor and stuff. The bad thing was that I spent so long doing it that I didn't get painted until the last minute, and so I was spray painting it and stuff in the last minute. And then I went to the sort of party, and I had loads of people who were coming up to take photographs and stuff, and I you smell like wet paint. And I was like, yeah, it's probably because it's wet paint. It's just because I didn't have enough time to sort of kind of do it, so it was last minute sort of just spraying it and stuff. But yeah, I do miss making costumes and stuff like that. But I'm gonna maybe next year I'll get balls off to the off to the kennels or something, and then I'll sort myself out a Gearowing 2023. The long-awaited Gearowing 2023, and because I'm going to win the lottery on Wednesday. It'll be a big fancy one and stuff, so it's okay.
Yeah.
The only thing I say is, with you and Boz, you've got the perfect costume there. You could dress as Han Solo. You could have him as Chewbacca.
Yeah,
come on,
that's true.
Come on, it's got to be done.
Oh man, I've got this model, and it's basic. I wonder. think not. Room. But basically, it's a model of a knight with a lion. And I went, you know what? I can do something with this. So I got like green stuff, which is like this modeling putty, and I've changed the lion into Boz. So I've given it, instead of having its tail down, I've done its little curly tail. I put green stuff around it, so it's got like loads of like little like fur and stuff. And it looks pretty like him. So it's going to be me with my hand on Boz and stuff in armor and stuff. I was like, yeah, pretty cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Lone Star and Barf, Mr. Wilson says. That's a good one. Yeah. Oh man, brilliant. Okay, so gents, as we don't have our guest tonight, it's not going to be super super Halloween related. We're just going to have a bit of a chit chat. So what's been going on? I'm assuming everybody's aware of the Henry Cavill news that's just dropped. Yeah. What are your views on it? Why do you think he's done it?
Well, there is a couple of big reasons. I think the most obvious reason, Warner Brothers Discovery have given him a nice big contract to go. Yeah, do you want to be Superman again? Oh no, I'm quite happy doing The Witcher. Right, how about we add an extra 0 on the end of that contract? Yeah, all right then. I think that's what's happened. I think Warner Brothers.
They went pretty quick with the reveal on that. Like yes. the whole like, and I haven't seen Black Adam yet and stuff, but they ruined that pretty quickly.
No, The Rock ruined it.
Yeah, ruined that like pretty
quickly.
Really? Yeah, sort of like
he shared it online and said, yep, this is at the end of the film. It's like, well, I guess it's not a spoiler anymore if The Rock's told you.
Yeah, so it was literally just that went up, and then TikTok had it on there and stuff. So I had it fully ruined for me pretty early on. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, it's Superman. I have to say, I'm very happy about that because I think he's an amazing Superman. I loved Man of Steel and stuff, and I just think I always was slightly sad that he didn't get a chance to do another one, to do it properly and stuff. Batman versus Superman was Justice League was a bit naff. The Snyder Cut was better, but still, he didn't really get the time to shine. So a new Superman film, Superman versus Black Adam, maybe, who knows?
Apparently there are 2 being proposed. So there's a Man of Steel sequel, which could start filming by the end of next year, because I think Warner Brothers Discovery are now trying to do this big change around. So they're not focused because they were trying to do this massive film slate that was going to be part cinema, part HBO Max. But it turns out they don't care about the HBO Max side stuff really, because they got rid of the Batgirl movie. They just went, yeah, we're not doing that one now. That's a $90 million write-off. There's also a few other TV series that have been canned there because they don't want to do them. But yeah, it looks like they're trying to almost like reinstate the Snyderverse without saying that that's what they're doing.
And they've got James Gunn at the head.
Yeah, James Gunn is headlining the DC movies. The DC output from Warner Brothers, which is pretty exciting. That's
going from Marvel, literally gamekeeper turned poacher turned gamekeeper, even just sort of like that's an interesting twist. I'm not sure how I feel about it. He's a good director.
I think Marvel did cock up really badly though, because when that whole thing came out with the historic tweets, which don't condone any of that at all, but come on, from 10 years ago, the guy even had said he was sorry previous times before. And they just went, oh, no, we don't want you. That second he got chucked out of Marvel, DC went, right, we're getting this guy. And they gave him the Suicide Squad film. And I love the Suicide Squad. Not the 2016 Suicide Squad, just so we're clear. The 2021 that's actually called The Suicide Squad. And Peacemaker, if you've watched the Peacemaker series, it is a fucking masterpiece. It is such a great show. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what James Gunn's going to bring, because after the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which is coming up in a few weeks, and Volume 3, which is out in May, he's a DC man again, and I think we're going to see. I know we're getting a season 2 of Peacemaker, which will be very welcome, and it looks like he's already, if he's not necessarily behind the camera on them, he is helping to produce at least 2 future DC movies.
Yeah, part of me really, because as much as I like the Marvel films, and I enjoy them, it's always irked me that DC haven't sort of stepped up to the plate and sort of kind of come out with anything overly good. Like the new Batman, was really good, and the Joker was really good. So these sort of like little one-offs they do seem to be really good, but they haven't really. They've tried to sort of. They went a bit too fast. They didn't sort of with the Justice League and things like that. They went, we need to have a grip up film pretty quickly instead of doing what Marvel did and starting off and having a gradual build and stuff. They went, we need these out now, and they ruined it. They fucked it. So now they've got something, and having The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, as a champion for DC, I think that's only going to help their cause. So you're going to have The Rock, then obviously you're going to have James Gunn. So you're going to have a lot of momentum.
I'm going to say from watching the Black Adam movie, it's a decent film, and what I went into, like, I remember when I saw it some time ago, because I got to see a little early cut of it, which was fine. It was good. Obviously, when I don't know if you guys ever been to like an advanced screening, there's no guarantee of what the full film's going to be like. So it was about 70%. All the CGI scenes were done. There were some like placeholders, some like animatic bits, and it mostly held up. But what got me was the end that I saw of that film, which really did throw me off, because it made me think, are they trying to sort of like keep the Black Adam side almost like to its own thing, like Black Adam Shazam? Are they trying to keep that to its own area, and then the rest of DC would go off on its own tangent? And then what I saw in the cinema, because obviously I had to go and see what the proper result was going to be, it's almost a bit like a course correction, and you can tell that they had their own idea. They probably had ideas for years of what they were going to do with this film. And then they suddenly gone, should we tie it to... Because I knew there was always going to be Shazam, because, come on, Black Adam. Black Adam is the anti-Shazam. You had to have that connection. But to then bring in elements of the DC universe, I won't spoil the rest of the film, even though, the thing that most people are going to want to go and see it for has already been spoiled. But it's a decent film. And there is so many little callbacks to what's happened in the... Because they're now calling it the DCU, the DC universe. So, take that as you will, because DCEU apparently was too complicated. And, and apparently, according to The Rock and according to other people, this is the first film in the first DCU phase.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I want them to take some time and not just sort of try and mimic Marvel and stuff. They need to sort of...
I think there's 4 DC films next year,
yeah,
so
Yeah. So they've got a because there's a bit of a lull at the minute, because the Marvel films are sort of kind of they've had their sort of end game, and now things are sort of they're trying to build up to new stuff, but there's nothing massive that's sort of coming out at this moment in time.
I think Quantum Mania will be a big step up in the overall arc for Phase 4, to be fair. It has felt like the MCU has been in very much a holding pattern, where they kind of dealt with the fallout of Thanos, and it's taken over. And we've seen that in Far From Home, No Way Home, in Legend of the Ten Rings. It feels like a lot deal with the fallout from it, but now we see build up for what's going to come next, the next, for want of a better term, big bad.
Because I think a lot of people were saying that Phase 4 was sort of like the grief period. Because if you look at WandaVision, that was Wanda,
grief.
Obviously, suffering from the loss of vision. We've also had Black Widow, dealing with technically the loss of her family when the Avengers broke up, and then obviously her loss with Yelena.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier was dealing explicitly with like how the world has changed. And to be fair, so is Hawkeye as well, like dealing with the loss of his friends.
And that's what I think. I understand what Marvel have gone with in Phase 4, because I think they've tried to almost like, develop this new path, and there are little bits and pieces that are tied to it. So the end of season 1 of Loki, we get the variant of Kang the Conqueror, who's tried to keep the timeline as just one straight line, but then obviously he dies, and there's now multiple timelines. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness includes the idea of incursions, which are these events that can wipe out a whole universe, which we're going to see a lot more of, with Kang obviously as the big bad. And then, as you say, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, we're actually going to get a full-on Kang the Conqueror, who, to be fair, Jonathan Majors just looks perfect in the part. He looks really menacing, and I think it was only a day or so before that was when the trailer for Creed 3 come out, and again, Jonathan Majors in it, and the guy, it's one of the things I try not to make it too obvious when like you see a guy on screen, you go, wow, that guy looks tough, but see Jonathan Majors like hench and everything, it's like, yep, any Avenger goes to him, he's just gonna fucking knock him out in one punch. That's like no chance. You just give up already. That's done.
Yeah, so yeah, you've got Quantumania coming out, but currently there's a bit of a lull. So there is, I think they're starting to, like Pete said, there's that holding pattern where they've sort of been explaining the grief and trying to sort of kind of pad things out, and then they're starting to build again. So DC have that time to maybe start something without feeling rushed, and they can sort of kind of reset themselves and get some momentum going on. And it's like Henry Cavill as Superman is my favorite Superman, and I love Christopher Reeves and stuff like that, but it's like Henry Cavill as Superman was just ideal for me. I think it's so good, and I just don't think he's ever had the chance, and so I'm really happy that he now has the chance to do it again. There's also rumors that he may be the new James Bond, though I'm not 100% sure about that, to be honest. So. Yeah, I don't know if he would suit James Bond, to be honest. He's too clean cut. I think with Henry Cavill, he's just not.
But to be fair, though, Roger Moore was very clean cut. If you think about it.
Yeah, he's just not one of my favorite Bonds, though, is he? And stuff.
Oh, I know, but that's the thing. I mean, it's all about different interpretations of the character. I mean, Sean Connery was a different take. To be fair, the most accurate take so far was Timothy Dalton with Living Daylights and If You Do Kill. He brought the killer to Bond to the forefront. It wasn't the most popular one, but probably the most realistic, for want of a better term, when you're talking about James Bond.
Yeah, I think
I enjoyed him.
Yeah, and as much as you got like Henry Cavill as Geralt from The Witcher, which he's not going to be after season 3.
I'd loved. I mean, it could have weighed everything, all the personality behind it all. It always comes down to the money. That's the basic reality. I want to know what those contract he had with the Witcher series. What Henry Cavill had. What contract Henry Cavill had with the Witcher? Did it expire at the end of season 3? And did they not renew it?
Well, that's a good point, because he has said in interviews, because I think the creators, when it was first coming out, said they had a 7-season plan, and he said, I'm attached to the whole series. I will do the whole 7 seasons as long as the writing, as long as the story feels right to me.
Yeah, because he's a massive nerd. He enjoys it, and apparently there's stuff about the people who were doing it just didn't like the books and didn't like the games and stuff. And I think he's very much a case of, we're not doing it justice. Maybe I don't really want to stick around.
Yeah, I mean, the writing has been divisive, I think would be the most diplomatic way to put it. I mean, I've had issues with that first season with the whole time jumps on which were never adequately explained, especially when you've got immortal characters. You have no clue when it's taking place. And the second season was fine.
I like the way in the second season, the song, it's sort of, you start questioning, what's going on and what about the time jumps and stuff. So I kind of like that they sort of kind of did a bit.
The jibe did it, yeah.
Like they jibed on it.
It was very meta.
Yeah, it was very meta.
But let's say it's what get out clauses were there in that contract? If there was one, was there a penalty that Cavill had to pay? Who paid the penalty?
It could just be that it could just be against like money. He's probably just because he's probably he probably was negotiating for the next season or whatever, and he was just like, I'm not being offered Superman. I'm being offered because he had to ask for the season 3 of The Witcher. He had to ask permission to do the Superman cameo. And he had and he couldn't tell them what it was and stuff. And so they were all right with it. But
I remember something that was Henry Cavill in Mad Men.
He was in. I don't think he was in Mad Men.
He was in.
The Tudors.
The Tudors, yeah, he was the Tudors.
Because I remember he did a cameo of Superman, or did some reshoots, but they wouldn't let him shave his moustache.
No, that was Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible. Sorry, yes, I knew.
Yes, because it was Mission Impossible Fallout when he had the tash, and
and they had to CGI it out.
Yeah,
in the cameo.
The thing is, they DC actually offered. DC and Warner Brothers actually offered the Paramount, who made Mission Impossible 7. They actually said to him that we will pay you whatever to CGI on the tash, or to pay for a prosthetic, and they just flat out said no, you're not doing that. And imagine what that could have probably cost. That would have probably cost like within the thousands, maybe tens of thousands, to get a decent prosthetic tash. No. Instead, they spend $20 million to basically make him look like a Ken doll.
Oh, it was really weird.
That is atrocious.
Yeah, it was really weird.
But yeah, like so again, it's the whole kind of studio tug of war with Henry Cavill. I mean, this, and to his credit, he has accrued a lot of star potential through his choice of roles and his acting. So yeah, there would have been a lot of money.
I don't think there's any bad blood with Netflix though, because he's still playing Sherlock Holmes in the Enola Holmes.
Very much so, yeah.
Which who wants out this week?
He's actually a very good Sherlock in Enola Holmes.
I like him. He's fun. He's very fun as Sherlock.
He has a very kind of deadpan approach, which is appropriate for the character because the guy was,
And also, he's still got the build on him as well. So that's crazy when you just see a Sherlock Holmes. It's just I
don't think. Sherlock... Sorry.
I mean, there's been various interpretations of Sherlock Holmes. I mean, probably the most faithful, to an extent, is BBC Sherlock. You've had Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock Holmes, which in a very bizarre film series, but still, it's fairly true to the character in that Robert Downey Jr.'s deputy can essentially predict what's going to happen, kind of analyze the situation and just see how it all plays out in his own mind. But yeah, the genteel detective is very much to the forefront of Henry Cavill's version. But also, don't forget, Sherlock in the original novels was he did Batista the stick fighting, and he was a boxer as well. So having that build there is not uncanon. I can't speak for a second, but is like a legitimate interpretation.
No,
I don't think I think I don't think it's bad blood or anything. I think it's probably. I don't think there's any nefarious thing going on. I think he's just.
Oh no!
Yeah, I think it's just good.
Basically, he has star power. DC wanted him, and DC have got the finances to say, we want him. How much do you want? Here's our checkbook.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can we make a bit of mention to his replacement though, Liam Hemsworth?
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad. I don't think it's a bad choice.
I don't hate it. I really don't hate it. I think it's an okay casting choice, and
I would have been happier if Liam Hemsworth had been cast from the start.
Yeah, it is slightly annoying because it is going to be a bit weird, and you've basically got Henry Cavill's sort of take on Geralt is he's going to have there's certain things that you're going to kind of get used to. So you're going to have a new character. Does he take on what Henry Cavill's already done and try and go there, or does he do his own thing? If he does his own thing, then you're going to have it's going to be a bit odd. So we'll.
I wonder if we're going to have. I don't think we're going to have that stark of a difference. I mean, someone was saying to me it's going to be as noticeable as when Richard Griffiths. No, not Richard Griffiths. So Richard Harris, when he was playing Gandalf, when he passed away, and then it was Michael Gambon that took over because
Gandalf.
Gandalf. For God's sake.
Wrong franchise, dude.
Yes, I know. Joe, it's because
Albus Dumbledore.
The superior franchise, obviously.
I've been binging through that Lord of the Rings series, and I'll just keep getting the bloody thing.
Dumbledore, you mean Dumbledore?
Dumbledore. Yeah, I know. Well, Dumbledore is a rip-off of Gandalf. I don't care what anyone says. Anyway,
agreed.
When he was cast as Dumbledore, because he took on a very different appearance, and whereas Richard Harris's Dumbledore was a lot more colourful, a lot more out there and bright. Gambon's one was arguably, had like a darker colour palette he was wearing.
But to be fair, they also had different directors as well.
Yeah, I get that. But then, we didn't have. It wasn't until Michael Gambon's one when, we were actually getting the annual speech where he was going to all the students. You might die this year, but good luck to you. Which was But
school health and safety at its best.
But I don't know if it's going to be that big of a stark difference. But do you remember Spartacus when that
he changed? He died of cancer.
Liam McIntyre.
Yeah.
Who, do you know what? I didn't read it properly at first. I thought it said Liam McIntyre was replacing Henry Cavill's The Witcher. I thought, oh God, he's taken over another franchise. Good on him. But do you know what? I'm happy. I'm happy to see that the series is going to carry on.
They were similar in look. So they.
The Spartacus one.
They were
very,
very similar, and sort of the way the acting and stuff was very similar. So it wasn't overly a massive. Like it was a massive shame.
but that couldn't be helped.
Yeah.
That was...
but. We'll see what happens.
I want to see how they're going to handle the transition. I mean, is it going to be like Dallas, where
it wakes up in the bath?
Wakes up in the bath and going, better yet, end of season 3, and Geralt, played by Henry Cavill, is fatally stabbed and is left lying there, surrounded by enemies, and the words "to be continued." There's season 4, kind of Henry Cavill's not Cavill, Liam's in the bath as Geralt. Flaked out and wakes up and goes, I had the weirdest dreams.
Well, the thing is, you could have, because you got transformations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He could be injured badly, and then he has to be. There's lots of angles they could use in the world of magic and stuff.
It's going to be the Doctor's regeneration, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's just going to glow orange for 5 seconds.
Or it could just be. It could just be. They could go off course, and they could just have another Witcher.
Actually, yeah. I mean, that'd be good. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, they could just do another. They could just do another Witcher. Again, it's good, because I'm not books wise. I'm not 100% sure whereabouts they are in the novels and stuff, but
they've gone off completely off.
So if they've done that already, then because I've not read them, so I'm a bit at a loss.
Okay,
but
I think
the short stories are better than the actual novels. Is my personal take.
Yeah, but going forward on The Witcher, they do need to keep it with Geralt of Rivia. I still remember what was still one of the worst decisions ever made in any TV show. Do you remember the Robin Hood series from the mid 2000s? Jonas Armstrong was playing Robin Hood, and it had Richard Armitage as Guy of Gisborne. I quite enjoyed that show. I thought it was really good. End of season 3, they killed off Robin Hood.
Yes, they did.
And you think, oh, okay, that's the show done. No, they actually wanted to make a series 4, but with Robin Hood dead. Maid Marian is dead. Guy of Gisborne's dead. But we're going to try and carry on the show anyway. How? How do you think that's going to work?
Well, it was basically all about Richard becoming the new Hooded Man, the new Robin Hood, and taking on the mantle and having to deal with the legacy of that. He is not Robin Hood, but he's kind of live up to that, the image of the character, and he didn't, and he had his own very much to take. And when he started following his own path, and trying to create his own legend rather than live up to another. That's when it was just an interesting take. I mean, it was
I don't have
brave writing.
I don't have any issues with them sort of killing off. Like, I mean, it's a big it's a big thing. But if as long as they do it properly and there is sort of some sort of connection between it, then I
think one of the best ways I've seen a TV series handle the fact they've changed actors is in Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
Where basically it was Joel Kinnaman left the show, who played the title character Takeshi Kovacs, and they brought in Anthony Mackie. And how to get around it? Simple. Kovacs is basically a brain implant.
Yep.
It's been uploaded into another body, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender, color, race, ethnicity. No, blue, green, pink, black. Who cares? Kovacs is just a personality that's downloaded into bodies.
Yeah.
And that was readable. I mean, personally, I preferred Joel Kinnaman's lockdown intensity compared to the more emotional Anthony Mackie, but that's again just purely my personal taste.
Yeah. So that's a big thing. I'm glad he's doing it. Just because he is he just seems like such a nice guy. You kind of want good things to happen for him and stuff because he just he just seems genuine. Plus he's a massive nerd and he likes Warhammer and stuff like that. So I think he's a bit of a darling for all the tabletop gamers out there and stuff. I'd love to see him in a Warhammer film of some sort. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be so
he would
good.
make a very good what's an Inquisitor?
Oh, Eisenhorn.
Eisenhorn, yes, he'd make a very good Eisenhorn.
I don't know because I think he personally is I think he'd want to be something like he'd want to be a Primarch or he'd want to be
maybe. But Eisenhorn is such a great character. I mean, someone like Cavill. I mean, without putting words in his mouth, to be fair, but I could see like someone who's so deeply invested in the background of Warhammer, he'd be up for playing someone like Eisenhorn. But that's my personal take.
I think he said that because they questioned him about that and stuff, and he said he'd have to be very selective because if he chose that would mean he wouldn't be able to play a Primarch or something like that. He said because he's basically said that as much as he would love to, that would sort of mean in the 40k he couldn't be somebody else. And I think he's got his eyes like if they did if HBO or somebody did a Horus Heresy series like Game of Thrones, they have the resources to do it. And
it's whether Games Workshop will be willing to sell that license to HBO.
I think but it's just like Games Workshop shouldn't do it themselves because they just don't really have the when they try to do their own sort of kind of movie type things, it doesn't really do well. But when other people do it, so if you've seen that sort of kind of, because they've got Warhammer Plus now, but they've taken all the sort of kind of fan made stuff and it's now on there. And I reckon if they gave it to somebody else who kind of knew how to do it, because Games Workshop are notoriously bad when it comes to their IP and giving their IP, they're a bit sort of really super protective, but then they give it out to really shit companies and stuff like that, and they do really bad jobs. So they just need to be careful. And HBO, big company, could do it justice. There's a lot of money.
That's the thing. It's a lot of money, and again, it all comes down to the money.
I know, but it's that is something. There's loads of background story to it, loads of lore. You could put a lot into it. The only issue I think is it's quite niche for some people. That being said, Game of Thrones was niche, and it was niche, and that became massive and stuff because they had
Walking Dead was equally niche. That was just a black and white comic book.
So it's potential.
I think it's finding the right grab. If you get something that gets someone straight away, if you get the word of mouth out, that's how you get the success. But I think if you do something in a very similar vein again, you're not always gonna expect that second bit of luck. Just look at some of the fantasy shows that have been launched. there ain't, I like fantasy, I like sci-fi, I like things that are very up there and explosive, but a lot of them you do have to invest a lot of time into. You've got to be able to give yourself to a lot of shows and like a lot of hours. I think, like Pete said, if you haven't got, if people are thinking, that's a little bit too much for me to take in, I like something a bit more casual, or I don't really want to dedicate my time. That's when you go from having a show that has a potential but has a £200 million plus budget. First series doesn't hook people. They go, well, okay, that's fine. That one's gone. Then we don't touch that again, and then that's a big loss. But I think Game of Thrones, when that was done, Game of Thrones at the time was, that first season was the most expensive season of television ever, and it just grew from there because people were going to it, people were watching it, and then look how big the books blew up as well. The lifetime sales of the books have now times by 10 since the show debuted in 2011. That is crazy. How many people think after watching the show they go, oh, let's read the book of it now? Because most people go, oh, I'll watch the film or I'll watch the show instead of the book. You never have that again. I don't think you'll ever see that again. It'd be good if it did, but
he's 75% done with Winds of Winter. Allegedly, he was on Stephen Colbert, and he's like, "I'm 75%."
No, that book is never coming out.
Yeah.
That book is never coming out. We're talking 11 years now since book number 5 came out. There is no way we are never getting Winds of Winter.
No, this is gaslighting you now, Matt. This is like it's an abusive relationship.
It's just like I don't even know if I'm bothered about it anymore. It's like
no book. There is no book.
I was really
6.
desperate for it, and now I'm just like, especially after the season finale and stuff. I'm just like, I'm not even sure if I'm that bothered about it anymore. But it's like a part of me is just because I've got to a point and I want to carry on, but it's just like.
I think it's having that closure.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a really good series to get into, then I recommend The Peripheral on Amazon Prime.
Ooh, I want to watch that.
It's based on a book by William Gibson. So significant pedigree there. And if you say who, I will throw you out the window, Matt. Just saying.
I like how you said Matt and not me. That's
Well, I can see from your reaction, to be fair.
I like William Gibson as well.
Yeah. And it's really well done. It's basically by the same people that did Westworld.
Yeah.
So again, cha-ching. And it's really, really good. This is a series you have to pay attention to. It's not a casual viewing. You can't just paint your models or read it or scroll your doom scroll on Twitter. And you have to watch it, but it's so well done. Really, really, really well done. And they've got all the kind of original characters in there, and they've been accurately portrayed. There's some additional information in there that wasn't in the book, but still, it's all kind of syncing up nicely, and it's really well done. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm having to explain a few bits to Kelly because the writing very much mirrors Gibson's own approach, where he'll just drops in words in the book that you have no idea what they mean, and you kind of reading the book going, nope, still not got a clue, not a good clue. Then about 40%, 50% of the way through, everything starts coming together in your brain, and you're that what it means. To start thinking about it. So I'm having to explain to Kalia, like, okay, right, this is what that means. This is what the haptics do, and so on. But yeah, it's really, really well done. And they're kind of the way they adapted it for television. They've kind of accepted the limitations of the medium. And said, okay, we can't adapt this from the book because it just will not work in the television medium. But we can do this instead. So for me, it's working really, really well. And watch it because it's so good.
It's a cyberpunk type thing, is it?
Post-cyberpunk is the best way I can put it, really. It's cyberpunk in ethos rather than in visuals. It's got the mentality without all the kind of cyberware. But yeah, can be a bit of it messes your head a lot in terms of identity and agency, but it's incredibly well done.
Okay, some of this I've still got to catch up on House of the Dragon because I've got like three or
I
four.
just started that.
Three or four
I
of
just
them to
started that
finish.
this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm Matt's going to throw me out the window here and saying I'm not enjoying it. I'm sorry. It feels to me basically like Dynasty, but with dragons and a lot more shoving.
I'm not hating it. I just sort of like, I think my sort of feeling about it was just because I had such a bad taste after the Game of Thrones and stuff, so I was just not really that bothered. But yeah, from what I've watched, and I watched up to episode 5 so far, I think. So I've got 5 more back. So and I've
I'm
enjoyed
impressed.
it.
I'm on to episode 8.
Okay, and I know. And I know, like, I know all the stuff because I've obviously read the book and stuff, so I know about the Civil War and I know all about all the stuff that's sort of kind of ensuing. And to be honest, to tell a lot of if you've watched Game of Thrones and you've paid attention, they basically tell you about a lot of the characters and what happens to them in that and stuff. So you kind of know what happens to some of them anyway because it tells you in the Game of Thrones.
I think my problem with it is that I just don't care about any of the characters. Like in the first season of Game of Thrones, you had Sean Bean, basically.
Ned Stark.
Ned Stark. He was kind of like the hero, the classical hero, and everyone is drawn to him. Now, because of the nature of the show, you don't have that in House of the Dragon. So I'm not kind of grabbed by any particular character because they're all just being dicks to each other. It's been like, I don't care. You've been
I think King of Viserys is good. I think your man Constantine, what's his name? Paddy
Considine.
Yeah, I think he's really good. I think he's done a really good
job.
I
like him. He's a good actor.
He is, and he's a good actor in general. Yeah. But
do you know what I've really enjoyed, because I've only watched the first 3 episodes of House of Dragon and I've quite enjoyed it so far. But I found that this year has kind of been, if it's been anyone's year, I think it's been Matt Smith's, because him as Daemon Targaryen, I think he's brilliant. He's got that horrific, look to him. He's someone who can have that calm demeanor, but at the same time, he just has that one little twitch, and he just goes out and kills 100 people like no effort at all. It's an amazing, and even in Morbius, such a shit show of a film, but he actually made it watchable.
He did quite well as the Duke of Edinburgh in The Crown as well. If you've watched that and stuff, he played that really well. It just felt like him. So he's quite good. I never really rated him because I wasn't a massive Doctor Who person, but when I've seen him in other things, he has quite a good range. So he does he does play his parts very well.
No, he's good. I think it's because and I don't say this in any way near bad, because I am a big Doctor Who fan, and I'm a great admirer of David Tennant's work. But Matt Smith has sort of been able to step away from Doctor Who really well and go off onto his own projects, whereas David Tennant, he's always had that Doctor Who shadow on him. And for spoiler alert for anyone who didn't see it over a week ago or looked on the website, David Tennant's back as the Doctor again. Because
only 3 episodes though, is it, or something, isn't it? 3
3 episodes that are coming out next November.
Okay.
Because it's the 60th anniversary next year.
Who was it he played in Jessica Jones? What was the name of the
Purple Man?
Yeah,
the Purple Man.
That was really
Kilgrave.
That was a really good, like, seeing him as that. He also plays in what's the animated thing?
DuckTales. He's Scrooge McDuck.
No, not DuckTales, I know that, but he's what's it called? Deep Space? No, not Deep Space.
Final Space.
Final Space,
the Lord Commander.
And you would never know that is him and stuff because he does a really different accent. But he's in that as well.
He's voicing that. It's really obscure. You would never give me 100 guesses. I'll be like, no, I wouldn't.
It's a really good series as well. It's just it's very poignant. It's got some really good music and stuff like that. I really enjoy it.
It's a lovely show. I absolutely love Dead Space, and see, this is the thing, because I'm reading so many other things. I get all these names mixed up. Final Space, because and the horrible thing is, I finished Final Space season 3 a little while ago, and not to spoil it, it definitely wasn't the end. They should have made a season 4, and I really hope that one day we either get like a finale episode or something to tie it together, because I think it was one of them shows that I watched on a whim. I saw it come up on Netflix one day, and I was like, yeah, okay, let's give it a watch. And I went from thinking, okay, this seems all right, to being, oh, I've just watched 8 episodes of this show. I must be enjoying it. It's like, yes, I am. And it's not just that, but it's a great voice cast throughout Final Space as well. There is some fantastic actors. Even Ron Perlman's in it, but then Ron Perlman's in everything. It's just a guy. It's just your guy. You just bring him in.
Yeah. Actually, I tell you what was a good show for just being perfectly cast, and that was The Sandman on Netflix.
Oh, yes.
That was, I mean, this was a TV show that was for decades cited as the unfilmable. You just could not do it. But I think just this year we kind of got the CGI capability to really pull it off. And they've done it. They've actually filmed the unfilmable. And really, really well. I mean, I grew up reading Sandman in the 90s, loved it. And the TV series was fantastic. Kaylee had never read The Sandman, never read anything by Neil Gaiman. We watched it together, and she loved it just as much as I did. So this is the best thing we've watched in years. And to the point where she goes, have you got any Sandman comics? I mean, Kaylee is not a comic reader. She does not read comics. She doesn't like them. But she goes, oh, yeah, I've got any Sandman. And Neil Gaiman, yes, we do.
Of course we do.
Yes,
I have them all right here.
Pretty much. So,
I think it's great. I think it's a great show.
You can talk about they've got Gwendolyn Christie as Lucifer, who is perfect. And also Patton Oswalt as Matthew. Again, just perfect. But he absolutely nailed the character. Just little kind of inflections.
Yeah. But I've got to say, my favourite casting is Tom Sturridge's Dream. I think he was just flawless in that performance, and because I was expecting, almost like a Mick take on the voice, because I really wanted Dream to have that deep tone, but he's got to be able to convey the emotion in that tone. And I thought it's going to come over a bit cheesy. It's not going. And from that first scene, when he starts talking, when he's when he escapes from his imprisonment, I thought, this is definitely the right guy. This is definitely the perfect casting. But I love the show. I think and even give props to Boyd Holbrook, who played the Corinthian.
Oh yeah, really good.
He was
very
good.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mark Hamill was Merv.
Yes, Merv Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, Mark Hamill, which again inspired casting. Vivian Ashampong as Lucian. I mean, it's important, but again, she nailed Lucian's dedication to their role as the librarian. And the lady who played Death, I'm sorry, I'm just quickly trying to remember who played her.
That was a really good angle that they did with that. It was just it wasn't what you would expect.
Kirby Hal Baptiste was perfect as Death.
Very good.
She would nail that. She's your best friend.
Yeah, it was sort of like death. It wasn't like death is there just to guide you to the afterlife and stuff, and it's like they're very reassuring, and just the whole thing, just very beautiful, very very.
Yeah, it was really delicately and sensitively handled. I thought for what could be a very difficult subject to broach, especially on mainstream television on Netflix. And then just nail the character, the nuances of the characters so well. I mean, one thing for me, one of my favourite issues of The Sandman is The Sound of Her Wings, which was adapted into episode 6 of the same name of The Sandman. And at the end of each passing, there's a line that said, and I hear the sound of her wings. Now, in the TV series, correctly minor, but at the end of each death, you hear the sound of wings. And that's what it sounds like, which to the Sandman nerd like me was just, that's good, thank you. I now know what it sounds like.
Yeah, and one of my favourite scenes throughout the whole series was, when he goes to the pub every 100 years to meet Bob Gadlin.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I think that was done really well.
Yeah,
that was very well written, and Yeah, do you know what? And I'm really annoyed that Netflix haven't announced season 2 yet because it had good viewership. It definitely is one of the strongest shows that Netflix has put out for a long time. And
Stranger Things, maybe.
Okay, all right, but
Stranger
I'm talking
Things.
about like as a debut.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, Stranger Things season 4 was brilliant. Yeah, that's
Did you talking about Netflix? Did you watch obviously the Dharma? There was two things, obviously documentary, and then there was Dharma. The
No, I like keeping my dinner inside.
It's dark. You kind of it sort of messes with you slightly because you have this sort of, you kind of feel slightly sorry for him in a weird sort of way because he is so sort of, it's weird because he's kind of inoffensive in a lot of ways and stuff, but he's just fucking, and he's obviously being messed up through genetically and being a product of his environment and all kinds of things, and then he's done some horrible stuff. But you got this sort of kind of like, this guy never had a chance, but he's done some horrible stuff, and it's very confusing because you're sitting there watching it and you're just like, oh no. And then it's not super graphic, but it's like it's quite disturbing in a lot of ways.
It gets under your skin, I imagine.
One thing like if you watch the documentary as well, it sort of has him talking on tapes and stuff like that. It is quite chilling. But the one thing I find slightly, and we're at Halloween now, so a lot of people dressing up as him, which I think is very sort of it's not very tasteful. It's very there's a lot of stuff on TikTok and people are using I just want to take some pictures and stuff, and it's all well and good to sort of pick fun at something, a big thing that's been on Netflix and stuff, but it's like there's a lot of people killed and eaten and molested and horrifically murdered by this guy, and it seems slightly wrong, and I'm not really keen on seeing people sort of kind of dress.
Is that any different to playing like the Kirk? Well, I suppose it is. It's a real person.
Yeah. Well, it's like I understand. So there, but it's also it's recent, so it was like sort of I would say recent in the last sort of in the 90s and stuff. It's sort of tail end of the started the 90s, I think. But
I think it's people understanding. Like when they come, when someone goes, oh, this is the go-to dress up for Halloween and things like that. There's a difference between people that actually know, why this person is known for what he did. And then you got the people that go, oh, well, it's a good style choice. It's like when The Boys season 2 come out, and people saying, oh, Stormfront's going to be the next big costume and whatever. It's like,
she's a Nazi.
No, she's a 100-year-old Nazi. I don't think that's really gonna work.
Because did some cosplayers get stick for cosplay?
I think Tabs did it, and I'm not sure, and I don't know because you don't see, because she did it, but I don't think she realized sort of who the character was, because I think once they sort of went, she's a Nazi, those pictures sort of kind of disappeared. So it's like you don't want to be sort of dressing up as a super Nazi effectively. It's never going to go down well. No, but
that's what I mean. It's about understanding, and I think people after the last few years of what's gone on in the world, I think a lot of people now start thinking, hang on, is this actually okay to be going out and doing? Is this really an appropriate idea? And I think it's good because I think people are learning a lot more, and they're actually thinking, well, hang on,
and the fact we are having this conversation.
Yeah, but that's it. And am I doing the right thing? Am I going to insult people? Am I going to upset people? And I think now that is in your head, you're actually thinking of that.
Yeah,
it's good. It's not a bad thing to think, oh, actually, am I going to affect anyone? Am I going to upset anyone? Because we don't want to do that. That's normal. Just be considerate.
Well, unless you're on Twitter now, because
Yes,
Elon Musk
Musk
is
next.
Elon Musk is now owner and has basically unbanned a load of people, and
It's by the entire board, as far as I can
yeah,
understand.
and he's basically
He threw them all out.
and it's just sort of like it's all about free speech. So basically, it's just going to be the Wild West. You're just going to get you're just going to get all the crazies on Twitter now spouting off racist comments and stuff and saying free speech, free speech.
I've read somewhere as well that Elon has asked like the lead developers to kind of print off the code they've been working on the past week or so, and so they can sit down and have a sit down and go for the code together. It's like, okay, has Elon Musk ever done any actual coding?
See, this is it. This is one thing.
I think he has.
But this is it, because I had it in my head. Now, he's obviously a very intelligent guy.
Absolutely.
You can't be that rich without sort of having some.
And he's the creator of PayPal.
Yeah, so you can't have that sort of you can't be intelligent without you can't be that rich, and he's obviously a very good businessman. But I had it in my head with like SpaceX and stuff. So I saw the documentary about SpaceX and stuff. I thought he was a scientist and stuff. I thought he had any input, but he doesn't.
No.
He doesn't. He basically hires people to do it, and they do it. And so he obviously knows enough to sort of get these businesses running and stuff, but he doesn't do any. I had it in my brain that he was this techie guy. He was sort of kind of an inventor, and that way he was just like he was the new Bill Gates. But he's not. He's just a businessman, and he's just a very good businessman. So it's sort of it makes a lot more sense when he's saying stupid shit and making bad decisions and stuff. You're just like, all right, so you're not actually a tech guy. You're just super rich and very good at your job. So
yeah, he's, to be fair, he's done some incredible things using his money. Like there's the SpaceX.
Yeah, you had Starlink as well over Starlink
Ukraine.
In the Ukraine, yeah.
Although to be fair, he did try to get out of funding and all that, and then when he said, "Oh no, it was being funded for about 6 months or so," and then he turned around and said, "No, I'm not willing to pay for it anymore now."
Yeah, but then he's trying to get out of buying Twitter.
Yeah. Well,
he's a weird guy. He's a weird guy. It's like you don't know how to take him and stuff. It's like it's like part of me is like wow, we wouldn't have these amazing things if it wasn't for him. But then it's like he does say some he's a complex sort of guy, and I'm not sure how I feel about him and stuff. It's just like he obviously there's a lot of good that he does, but then there's sort of a lot of other stuff that I'm just not sure about. And it's just like the whole Twitter thing. It's like I understand free speech, but there has to be a line between free speech and hatred and stuff. And it's just like if you're literally going to go on and say repugnant shit, then you shouldn't be able to, because that's not benefiting anybody, even if it is free speech. It's just like
we have literally discrimination laws and hate speech laws in the UK. So essentially, the best way would be to kind of apply those same rigor to how we kind of, essentially legislate how we can approach other people and how we can behave, and apply to online behavior. I mean, there is a push in that direction. There is the online harmers bill, but it doesn't really focus on hate speech or cyberbullying. It's all sort of cyberbullying.
I don't think we're gonna have. I don't think we're gonna have this whole big war zone thing. I think that people are expecting Twitter to become. I think there will be a few changes. When any company has changed hands, there is always going to be things that are going to happen. I don't think it's going to be unregulated at all. I think we're going to still have we're still going to have a fairly strict policy to it.
No matter what happens, the Twitter is not, above all laws. It will still have to abide. If it wants to be used in certain regions, it will have to abide by those regions' regulations.
They'll just
exactly. The EU has that, and they said, like I think was Elon said, oh yeah, free speech here we come, or words to that effect, and and basically the EU Parliament said, well, yeah, but you still have to kind of follow our regulations. So yeah. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
But the thing is, to be fair, just don't be a dick. Just say and speak to people as if they were, in front of you. Just don't be a dick. It's very simple. I mean, just like that. Don't be a dick.
And that's the name of the podcast.
Don't be a dick.
But the thing is, though, I mean, I still use Twitter to a fair degree. I'm not as mad on it as I used to be a few years ago. When I was doing radio, I used to be on Twitter all the time. It was a good way, like, communicate with people. You'd get messages back and forth. You'd be able to get feedback on things that are going on around you. But then, obviously, do you guys still use Twitter? That's a good point, really.
Well, we're streaming on Twitter at this moment in time.
Yes,
we're streaming on
Twitter. I use Twitter a lot.
Hello, Elon.
I use Twitter a lot. I mean, I'm on there kind of as a freelance journalist, promoting writing. I mean, speaking of which, I've just done an article for the BBC today. I've just gone online looking at arcologies and technical feasibility. So you've got bored for 5 minutes, read that, please. It's really good. But seriously, though, I mean, I do use it a fair bit. It's a useful way to kind of find editors that I need to speak to. It's a useful way to promote my work or kind of, approach people. I mean, like, I use Twitter for my professional facade, whilst Facebook is very much me, my family, my kids doing dumb stuff. So because I can control, like, I'm more happy share like your thoughts of the kids, where I wouldn't do that on Twitter because that's public facing.
Yeah. Okay. So before we move on to our pop quiz, has anybody got anything else that is they want to talk about?
I've got Sci-Fi Weekender coming up next month.
This is where you're going to be an interviewer.
Yes, I'm going to be interviewing there. I'm going to be interviewing Jeff Cummins, an artist that's in album covers and also a Doctor Who book cover artist, and there's also interviewing Catherine Evans, who's an author. So I'm interviewing there and taking part in the cosplay. So I'm working on my first one right now.
Oh, interesting. What are you doing? What are you going as, Pete?
No, you'll find out.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was a Pope's hat. That's
assuming it goes to plan. I mean, this is my first go at it. And
are you using EVA foam?
Yeah, I mean, my first go at EVA foam. I've never used it before. I'm much better and more comfortable at modding something, taking something and then just kind of modding it to my needs. But with this, what I'm working on right now, I need to kind of build some.
You got a heat gun?
No.
Oh,
I've got a hairdryer.
So basically, when you're using EVA foam, you can basically seal it afterwards. So you use the heat gun, and it sort of kind of seals it afterwards, and then you can put a bit of Mod Podge over the top of it.
What I'm thinking is, I mean, this it's going in the bin, to be honest, because it's completely wrong. It was meant to be an armrest, and I realised that I can't actually put my hand in it to put it on properly, so I can't really bodge that one. And also, I made the whole thing too long for my arm, so I can't actually bend my arm when I'm using it. So again, it's going in the bin. But I know what I want to do now. If that was my dry run, which will be a bit of an expensive dry run, not too expensive, but expensive enough. If
you're looking for more foam, EVA foam, you can get, B&Q, those mats that you get for garages and for things, the ones where they fit together. They're black, and you get them. They usually put them in garages or in sort of like for dogs.
That's a bit too thick of what I need. I mean, this is 5mm, and even that was a bit thick, to be fair.
Yeah. What is it? Oh, I suppose you can't tell us, but it's it's just because it's quite cheap, and as long as you got a nice.
I just happen to live 10 minutes away from Polyprops.
Ah, yes, okay.
So it's literally like, hang on, I could just nip there and pick something up.
You could. Have you ever used Warbler before?
Warbler. I've heard of it, never used it.
So it's basically a thermoplastic.
You mold it, don't you?
Yeah, and so if you want something now, I used it many moons ago, and it's quite versatile. So what you would do is you would get a thin type of foam, maybe what you got there, and then you basically put the warbler over the top of it and use a heat gun, and it sort of kind of melts onto the shape, and then you can sort of kind of use the heat gun to bend it, so it gives it that more rigid feel without it looking like foam. But then you can sort of it because it's plastic, when it sort of sets hard, so you can use it to sort of kind of mold stuff, and it's quite useful. Quite a good sort of thing.
Well, I've only got about a week and a half until Sci-Fi Weekender, so yeah, I'm literally just doing some arm braces for the build, but it should be interesting to see what I come up with. I mean, it's very much a learning experience, and I'm enjoying learning about it. But I couldn't need to spend so much time on it before all the other writing to work on. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this is the first Sci-Fi Weekender in 3 years, because the last one was end of October and start of November 2019.
Right, wow. So
it's been pandemic, and then due to the flight restrictions in place, they couldn't get guests over, so decided to kind of delay it again. So now this is like the first one in 3 years, so it's been interesting to see what it's like. I mean, I've seen some friends I've not seen there for several years, so it's going to be a good one, I expect. I mean, Leroy Rogers is going to be there. Level Up Leroy.
Yeah, Level Up Leroy.
So it's going to be great to see him, as well. John Robertson with the Dark Room.
Yep.
So yeah, we're going to try and bag him for some time, and also get back in the podcast.
Oh yeah, funny man. Like I honestly I've never laughed so much in my life. That podcast with him, hilarious.
That's probably insulted the entire world, but
yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah.
But it's yes, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. What about you, Jon Jo? Anything else?
Oh, do you know what? Now next week Friday, because we've been talking a bit about Marvel stuff. Next week Friday is when Black Panther: Wakanda Forever comes out. And my partner, she don't like any geeky stuff, really against it. Anything that's considered superhero, sci-fi, anything like that, she just calls it cartoons. Don't matter what it is, it's just that, it's cartoons, it's rubbish. But next week Friday, on its release day, she's agreed to come and watch the new Black Panther movie. And how I sold it to her was I said, don't see it as a superhero movie. See it as like, a cultural piece, because, we're looking at, Wakanda, this is a fictional country, yes, but, fictional country from the continent of Africa, and I said there is a lot of African imagery that is used in the first movie, which I can only assume will be carried over to the second. I said, then, you're going to get these, Namor and his people. I said, they have a very, they seem to be casting a lot of Latin actors for this as well. So I said, there are going to be some great cultures that are going to be displayed on the screen. I said, how often do you get to see this in a big budget movie?
Has she seen the
and
first
she
one?
kind of went for it.
Has she seen Black Panther?
No. I'm not pushing it too far. I'm going
so
with
she's
one
going
film.
to see one, and she's not going to realize what's going on, and it's like
I have gone for. No, she understands. She understands the bare basics. So she knows that Black Panther is a Marvel character. She knows that Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther, has sadly passed away, and she understands. And I've told her, we do not leave the film until the film stops. I said, mid-credit, post-credit scene, you sit. And she went, oh, well, you can sit there. I'll go to the toilet at that point, or I'll go and get a drink or whatever. I went, okay. I said, but I won't be leaving. I'll be sitting in my seat. I'll be staying there. And but we'll see. And if by some reason she does enjoy it, you know what? I said, I've got 29 other Marvel movies for you to watch. We've got almost like a dozen TV shows now. I tell you what, you're gonna have some fun. We're gonna and I got told, don't push your luck. So yeah.
What did you think of talking about Mark? Did you like the finale of She-Hulk?
I liked it. Yeah.
I thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
I think it was and I know some people that really hated it, and I just said to her, but it's not a big full-blown CGI fight. It's not a sky beam shooting stuff up into the air. I said, this is something unique. This is something funny. This is something that, diverts your expectations, and it does it in such a great way. I said, how could you hate this? How could you say?
I thought it was great. And having Kevin as the robot and stuff. It was just like him play as the robot.
God.
Really
and also, to be fair, a big CGI fight is not really appropriate for a lawyer.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I think it played to what it was. I thought, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Loving Charlie Cox's, Daredevil again.
Yeah,
and
again, he was good. I mean, he was true to the character, yet adapted for the tone of the show.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's way looking at it in the Netflix shows. He starts off this character doesn't care about himself. He just, he just wants to deal out his own justice. And I want to see it more as an evolution. He still wants to deal out justice, but he's doing it at if he can do it in the courtroom, he settles it in the courtroom. If he can't do it in the courtroom, that's when Daredevil comes out. And I like that back and forth. And he's just fun. He becomes this guy, who can have a bit of a laugh. He obviously, has still got that bit of darkness to him, but he's just fun.
Well, I mean, Daredevil in the comics had his darkness to him, but also he had this kind of flamboyant personality where he was very much a literal Daredevil. He was kind of very much carefree in that regard, and he would. He has quite a few romantic partners. So again, going with She-Hulk, yes, that would be absolutely fine for him. And I had no problem with that. It made sense. Both are lawyers, both are incredibly intelligent. They have to be to become lawyers. And just, I love their kind of interplay when they're kind of discussing whether this guy could be, could claim the insanity clause. And they're discussing it between each other. But and really nailed that. And I was happy to see Matt Murdock smiling.
Yes.
So
it's the scene when he walks out of Jen's apartment. He's carrying his boots, still in the full
out. Walk of shame.
That was brilliant. That was so good.
So good.
Yeah, and also, it's like I just saw some guy in the walk of shame. Yeah. Actually, that was one of my favourite lines, and I'm going to horribly misquote it, so please be away from me, is She-Hulk at the end to Kevin, because that's what Hulks do. We smash bad endings and
the fourth wall.
And the fourth wall. And sometimes Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
That is just someone that is happy with who they are.
Yeah. I loved it. Yeah, I thought it was really good. A lot of fun. Like, I really enjoyed it.
And again, it could not be more of the same.
Yeah.
If you look at each Marvel, they're both tonally unique. Each has a very own, style, writing, and tone to it. So I'm glad that it could very easily just be like Marvel Show Mark V. No, it wasn't. It was completely different. And then, that's why Disney Plus is actually working, because they've been so tonally different between each show and each film. I mean, look at the films. Shang-Chi, it was a kung fu film, and as someone who does kung fu, I loved it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. Yeah,
for the first half or so of the film, Shang-Chi's superpower is that he's really good at kung fu. And I'm fine with that. But again, that was another fun film. Just and it was very knowing of itself. It's very aware of its heritage, and it really kind of respected.
I'm kind of hoping that now, with these, I'm kind of hoping, because we spend a lot of these podcasts talking about Marvel stuff, and then DC get the odd sort of like, why? What have they done?
Because Marvel have got something out every week. Yeah. That's why.
So I'm kind of hoping at some point in time we can have a more prolonged conversation about the DC stuff that's coming out, and where they're going with that. So hopefully,
Joe, I'd love to have a proper discussion one day on DC. But talk about the animated shows that came out from like 1990s up till like the most recent. Because everyone talks about Batman the animated series, Still probably my favourite cartoon of all time.
Yeah.
But, you know, you got the Superman series, which was really good. You also had Batman Beyond, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Still a great show. Justice League Unlimited. Again, two other fantastic programs. Yeah, do you know what? And there's so many other spin-offs as well that don't ever get a mention. And all the films.
Speaking of animated, just has anyone watched Cyberpunk Edge Runners?
No.
Not yet, no.
Oh, that's really, really good, actually. The art style isn't really to me. It's just personal taste. That's not. But the story is full on Cyberpunk, and it's telling that Mike Pondsmith was involved in the development of the story. But yeah, but this is not a kids. Yeah, don't watch it with children, please. Just don't.
I mean, the Cyberpunk game itself is rated 18, so I wouldn't think the anime would be any less.
There has been some. Well, you look at some video game.
I mean, the Cyberpunk game. One of the things, if you're a male character, you decide how big your penis is. So obviously, that is not, you know, for anyone under the age of 18. Come on.
Like, yeah. Okay, cool. We will move on to our final section, our pop quiz, before we call it a night for tonight. So, gents, what are we going to go for? Who's first? If not, I did some with my friend Sam. So I do a sort of tabletop gaming podcast with my friend Sam on Sundays now, because we don't do these on Sundays, called the Hobby Hoarders podcast. It's just sort of my tabletop gaming, and we did sort of some Lord of the Rings ones yesterday and stuff. So I've got a Lord of the Rings one for you if you want to go for that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Lord of the Rings, 60 seconds. Go.
Okay, is it in the original trilogy? The Lord of the Rings trilogy films?
Yes.
Are they in the prequels, like the Rings of Power, or
no?
Okay.
Boromir.
No.
Are they a character only in the films?
Oh God. I'm gonna have to think. Yes. Oh God, it's been such a long time. Yeah, because it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. I'll say yes. I'm gonna have to check that now.
Okay. Are they only in the first film? But are they in all three films?
They are in two of them.
Two of them. Okay. Are they in the first film?
Yes.
The second film?
No.
But they are in the third film then?
Yes.
Okay, so the first and third film. Okay. Are they part of Sauron's forces?
I think she might actually be in the book. Oh, so
it's a female.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, she is in the book. Yeah. Sorry, she's not. No, she's not a bad guy.
She's not. Yeah, it is a she though.
Yes. Okay, so that's your minute. So give me one more question, and then.
Is she an elf?
No.
No.
Is she Hobbit?
She is a hobbit.
I can't remember her fucking name. I think I know it is that.
Is it Samwise's wife?
It is Samwise's wife. What's her name?
That's it. I can't remember her name.
Sorry, no.
It's just Samwise's wife. That's it.
Rosie Cotton.
Yes. Yes, you're absolutely right, Matt.
Yeah.
That was really bugging me, because as soon as I said Hobbit, I was like, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I just couldn't get her name.
Yeah.
Samwise's wife.
Yeah, Samwise's wife. Yeah. So there you go. That's mine. Who's up next?
All right. Pete, have you got one in mind, or should I go first?
Please be my guest.
All right. I'm going to go for a DC character.
Ooh, okay. Okay, so DC, 60 seconds, go. Are they in a film?
Yes.
Have they got a film of their own?
No.
Are they a good guy?
No.
Bad guy?
Yes.
Female?
Yes.
Female bad guy. DC, female bad guy. Catwoman?
No.
Ra's al Ghul daughter?
Oh,
no.
Talia al Ghul. Talia al Ghul.
Thank you.
Yeah. Evil bad guy. DC. Okay. She's been in a film, so I'm just thinking films.
Yeah.
Okay.
Poison Ivy?
No, not Poison Ivy.
Is she in the Batman films?
No.
Is she in the Superman films?
No.
Is she in the oh god, it's a minute. Okay.
Shazam?
No, not Shazam.
Okay. So one more question then, I guess. Right. So we're not in Batman. We're not in
Black Adam?
No, not in Black Adam.
So she's bad. Not Batman. Not what other ones did we say she wasn't in?
So not Batman, not Superman, not Black Adam, not Shazam.
She's got films. I'm trying to think. DC films. She's a bad guy.
In Justice League?
No.
I don't mean Justice League. I mean the Suicide Squad.
No, not Suicide Squad.
God, I'm struggling here. Yeah, I give up. Not sure.
Okay, Pete, you got any last guesses?
In the Wonder Woman films.
Oh, okay.
And I think we've got way beyond the minute, but
yeah. Okay, yeah, I don't know.
But go on. Let's see if Pete can get it.
I don't watch DCEU films. Wonder Woman's baddie.
That's just as bad as Samwise's wife.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first Wonder Woman up until about the final arc, where it just got a bit blue sky.
Anyway, it is actually Cheetah, the villain from Wonder Woman 1984.
I didn't watch 1984.
Never seen that.
I didn't watch it.
Oh, trust me, you're not missing much.
Yeah,
I
didn't watch
that's
it.
why I don't watch it.
I didn't watch it, but yeah,
which is a shame.
It makes sense. Yeah,
because it's Kristen Wiig playing her.
Yeah,
Kristen Wiig is a fantastic actress. But
I was sitting there kind of going, "What? I've seen all of the DC Marvel ends," and I was like, "I haven't seen." I didn't see 1984. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
And also a very underrated character in the Injustice 2 game as well.
Yeah.
Very, very good if you can master her.
Okay, Pete. What are we going for?
Okay, James Bond.
Ooh, very interesting. Okay, so James Bond, 60 seconds, go. Are we talking Sean Connery James Bond?
Yes.
Ooh,
maybe.
Okay. Maybe. Is it Q?
No.
Okay, is it good? Are they part of the Secret Service?
No.
Are they a part of? Are they a villain?
Yes.
Right. So they're villain. So is it Dr. No?
No.
Is it Goldfinger?
No. Actually, sorry, it's not part of Sean Connery.
Okay.
It's not sure. Is it part of Roger Moore?
Yes.
Oh, is it Jaws?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. As soon as you said Roger Moore, I was like Jaws. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go me.
I was trying to think of Roger Moore's villains. First one I thought was Solitaire. Obviously, Live and Let Die. I was like, yeah, Jaws.
Yeah, I love the actor. He's in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. Richard Cavill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
cool. Very good, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have some more guests for you coming up.
Working on it.
Coming up soon. So for tonight, I've been Matt Geary. With me has been Jon Jo Cosgrove.
Take care, everyone.
And Peter Ray Ellison.
Good night, everyone. And if you're going to Sci-Fi Weekender, I'll see you there.
Bye.